Hey, we're reading this article together so you don't have to read it all by yourself. It's called Where Nature Ends and Settlements Begin by Jumana Manna. So this is part 5, and we're talking about the relationship that the Israeli government has with Palestinian herbalists, and specifically the Israeli laws that govern which plants Palestinian herbalists can pick out of the wild. So we've covered quite a bit of this article already, and you can go back and check out the other videos. And right now we're up to this part, which is called court battles. So now we're getting into the legal conversation. So we're talking about 3 herbs here primarily. There is a local sage. There's also a local thyme, which is called za'atar. I'm probably pronouncing that improperly. And then another kind of a very special native thistle, which is called akub, which again, I may not be pronouncing that right. So over the last decade or so, there has been a demand for the decriminalization of the picking of these herbs. At the forefront of this conversation is an attorney named Rabea Egbare. Ugh, I can only imagine how much I just butchered that. I'm so sorry. So this attorney says the prohibition on gathering these herbal plants is not based on a reliable factual basis. As we learned in the last part, Ariel Sharon in the 70s, when he was the Minister of Agriculture for Israel, he just kind of decided on a whim that the Palestinians shouldn't be allowed to collect thyme out of the hillsides because it would be bad for the plant. Like Ariel Sharon just decided that. So let's go back to this quote, right? From this lawyer. The prohibition on gathering these herbal plants is not based on a reliable factual basis. It does not serve the purpose of the law and disproportionately harms the Arab population that has used these herbs for hundreds of years, particularly for cooking needs. But it seems like the state continues to lean on the perspective and the expertise of the Israeli Nature and Parks Authority, the INPA. And they also kind of lean on this idea that supposedly destructive tendencies of the Arab people, but meanwhile, the Arab people are saying that they're just collecting this food the same way that they have done for generations. We also heard some evidence in a previous chapter about the way that the bulldozers, the Israeli bulldozers, have actually destroyed way more stands of native thyme than the picking of the Arab people picking the herb for their cooking. Okay, so let's get back to what Jumana Manna is saying in this article. She says, moreover, indigenous knowledge and care around foraging practices is often dismissed. Clipping the tops of the za'atar and the thyme and the native sage stems, in fact, encourages fresh growth. And the akub, which is the native thistle, will regrow the following year and sometimes within the same season as long as it's clipped at its base. So she's talking about these indigenous practices and how if maybe the Israeli state would be willing to learn this, they would understand a little bit more about how the foraging practices of the Palestinian people are not actually inhibiting the growth of this plant. So she says the judicial system willfully ignores this expertise, the status of the plant as food, as well as the socioeconomic needs of those accused. Many who forage generally need to feed large families and can't always make ends meet. Instead, they are met with exorbitant fines, which, if not paid, result in jail sentences. So people are going to jail for foraging plants that their ancestors have foraged for literally thousands of years. So she goes on to say that the persistence of these attorneys has actually yielded results in late February of 2020 when the INPA, the Israeli Nature and Parks Association, announced that enforcement measures would be softened for a trial period of 2 years. Everyone is now permitted to collect up to 5 kilograms of this special thistle for personal consumption. And then she says, it's unclear whether the trial period is a commitment towards a lasting change of the law or just a way to momentarily deflate what has become a topic of great sensitivity in the Arab sector inside Israel. And that she's wondering if maybe this is just a move to kind of dodge the threat of a petition that these lawyers are putting, saying that they want to take it to a higher court. So I guess since that time, people have been patrolling, and again, the INFP is saying we can't tell who's gathering for themselves and who's gathering to sell it at the market. So I guess we'll have to do some research on our own to see how this is going, because now it's 3 years on. We can do some research and see what's up. It looks like the next chapter is about catnip, so come on back. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear them. Just put them in the comments. I would love, love, love it.